Hello, hello. Welcome everyone. I am coming in to do um a update, an energy update for you for the week and see what it brings for us. Um my name's Corrie Thorne. To anyone who is new to my video, I'm just kind of looking in like a deer in headlights. It's not my first time in here. I was just making sure I was on live. So welcome to anyone who's watching this later and looking at it and go, what is she doing? And where's she looking? And why does she look so nervous? I'm not nervous. I'm just checking things out and see where I am and just making sure that I am up and live. So we are live. So welcome to anyone who's joining me. Um, and I am broadcasting on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're commenting on from YouTube, people on Facebook can't see it, but your comments are seen on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, those comments can't be seen on YouTube. So wherever you're watching from, just know if I'm talking to somebody else and you're wondering who's she talking to, it's on the other. I am on the other page. I'm talking to someone on the other page. So hello, Carlene. Hello, Sherry. Hello, everyone else who's watching and doesn't comment. I know you guys are there. I see all the little eyes that says how many are watching me, how many are on live. So thank you all for being with me. And today I'm just coming in to I was actually coming in to record a meditation and none of my stuff was working. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll do my Facebook Live first. And so here we are. We're doing a Facebook Live. So it's going to be I'm going to be just pulling, I'm going to be bringing forth the messages of the week for the energy. I'm not going to be doing so many personal one-on-ones. I did that last week. But I want to share the cards for the week, the message for the week. And we are in the week before the Christmas season hits us. And so there is a lot of, hello, everyone who's watching Facebook and YouTube. There is a lot of energy shifts that are happening. There's a lot of pivotal points this week, and one is the winter solstice, and then the other one is the new moon. So we do have some big shifts that's happening. We do have Aries going into Jupiter and Aries coming back together, and so Jupiter and Aries coming back together is going to be a big force energy. It is lighting a fire. It's helping us to be able to finally get through. So if you feel like, if you have been feeling like you've been like being squeezed through a freaking birth canal, if you've been feeling the pressure of life and all of those things, and you've really been resisting it and you keep trying to get back to what was, or trying to feel like your old self. It's like, oh, I'm trying to feel like myself. I can't feel like myself. Well, you got to stop trying to feel like your old self. Just lose that thought. You can't be the old self. And that's a huge thing for people, is they really try to return to how they used to feel. And it's like, oh, if I could just feel like myself. Well, yourself is trying to get through so that you can actually feel like yourself instead of feel like everything else you would have felt like before. So hello, everyone that's in here tonight. And so this is an impromptu coming in. I was recording a meditation, so there will be a meditation coming out as well that will be going into the school, which we'll announce. But we do have a lot of exciting things that are happening. So if you have not yet purchased your ticket to the online summit, that's coming up January the 6th to the 8th. We have absolutely amazing speakers. It is incredible. It's an incredible powerhouse of speakers this year at the online summit. So the tickets are like $29.95, I think it is Canadian. And you can even purchase gift certificates for the summit as well if you want to gift it to somebody else as well. And so we want to make it, a price that people could really afford to be able to attend this year. And so it is happening, like I said, all day. It's happening in the evening on January the 6th. It is then all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And then there is an add-on for the Saturday night that you can purchase, an add-on, which is a 2-hour live, or an hour and a half, I think it's an hour and a half live mediumship with me on the Saturday evening. And that is also available. So it's like snakes shedding a skin that no longer fits. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah. Yeah, and you don't fit in the old skin, right? It's like you outgrow it and you just can't get back into it. As much as you try to get back in, you can't get back in. There's no way of getting back in. And so you have to really truly know that it It kind of feels like a vulnerability right now. You may be feeling the vulnerability, but it is on our way to something new. So there is some real new energy. And so while this new energy is coming, it's energy that you shouldn't waste. And so don't waste the fire, don't waste the power, don't waste the energy that is coming in with the winter solstice. And sometimes that energy doesn't mean that it's like get up and go time. It means to really sometimes let yourself be creative in your mind and let yourself work yourself through some of the things that you need to do. Maybe it's projects that include writing, journaling, those type of things. Other times it is go time in and really truly accepting who you are right now. And acceptance is coming up everywhere, and it has been everywhere all through so much that's happening. But if you have not listened to my weekend message that I just recorded, which I'm absolutely sure is more than a weekend message, it is on YouTube. It is on YouTube. I posted it on Saturday, and it is me. It's a channeled message from the archangels and the power of the seven major, archangels, and how they've kind of like, there's always so many stories, right? And they're just like, it's almost like there's a return of the original. It's like things are being returned to the original. So the person you keep trying to be, or what you keep trying to get back into, the old skin or whatever, that was never your original self. And the original self has this authenticity to it. I just finished writing in one of my new books that I was writing. It's that authenticity is, I did everything to be ordinary. And in the end, I'm ordinary. And I'm back to like this, like, there's such power in ordinary that I don't need to do anything super, right? You don't have to do anything that's like extraordinary. You just got to be you. And when you just be you, life comes to you. It really does. When you are truly you, life comes to you, because the life that is created and designed for you comes to you. When you're living in the shadows of you, when you're trying to be something, when you're all of the other energy, there's so much resistance, and it's what's arriving to you is not really designed for you, because you're projecting something. It's like that imposter syndrome. So really, truly, there's a lot of energy right now that's breaking up with the imposter energy and kind of breaking that fragments of that away and stepping into being that authenticity, that truth that we are. And so this truth then brings forth the life that is truly designed for us. And when you allowed life to, when you are just you and simply just you, life comes towards you, and life starts to really bring in the beautiful things that are waiting for you. And that's a huge part of this energy that we have. And as we're coming into, this is a major week, a major few weeks, actually, this last week as well. This is when the Magi is very witches, which is the wise ones. So anyone who's ever listened to some of my original work has heard me speak about the wise ones. You've heard me working with the wise ones. And so the wise ones, the Magi, the ones that bring forth and kind of hand us the blessings and the treasures that allow us to be able to step into, our miracles and our beautiful things in life. Well, that energy is very much with us, but it also is a force to be reckoned with. And so because it comes with such knowledge, and it knows us better than we know ourselves. So your soul knows you better than you know yourself. The wise ones, the council, that divine consciousness knows us better than we know ourselves, because what we know of ourselves has been so programmed and so conditioned that, that we believe a lot of these things that were never really us. And so now we're starting to dismantle that programming. And if you were ever in my More Than Existing program, then you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And so this energy is very active right now. And take advantage of it. Like this is not to let it slide past or let it go. It's like, go with the flow of this. Just allow it to work through you. Don't try to make it happen. Just allow it to happen. Just allow it to be with you. Beautiful things transpire. Beautiful things happen. We have seen things this week that will just absolutely blow your mind. Like I'm sitting with one of my dear friends and we're talking, and this whole little real Christmas tree became one big white light. And I mean one big white light. It has colored lights on it. It's not even white. And the whole tree just became this big white light. Now, if you were in some of my recent classes, you see my whole room and all of me become all of these magenta lights. And you've seen these magenta lights, you've seen the light flowing through my hands. And so this angelic realm, the power of how the divine energy is so present for us right now and here for us, here to help us, and the power of learning to ask. And when you just ask, and when you ask for help, you ask for guidance, you can't keep, then once you ask, you can't step in and try to do the job of the divine. Because the moment you try to do the job of the divine, you're not trusting the divine. And if you can't trust the divine to step in and step forward, and you're already taking over, then you're trying to create something yourself again. You're forcing and pushing this energy. And so allowing divine to work for us is sit back and just be an ordinary person. It's okay. You can sit back and be ordinary. You can sit back and just be an everyday person, and just know that you putting the effort into just allowing yourself to just be free of everything that your mind controls, and just allow yourself to just be present in your present moment, and to be present in every single present moment that is appearing for you. And I'll read the comments after, but I'm channeling through this message, and when I'm channeling, I can't break the connection. So we're channeling this through, and I'll read all your comments in a minute. But so this energy and is saying, if you ask, you have to give us time. You have to allow us in. And so you have to allow us to step in. And what is the old saying? I just remember my grandmother always saying to me is, my grandmother used to say, just give it to God. And, I didn't really understand what that meant. And I have a deep new understanding of that in these past few years for myself, and where I am in my own truth. And so, and in my own heart and in my own life. And so that giving it to God wasn't that meaning that I was going to sit back, cross my legs and say, you do everything. It was meaning my part was to do what was humanly possible on my end. But there's areas that are too great for us to be able to lift, right? There's things that are too heavy for us. There's things that are greater than us. But there is the angelic realm. There is the forces of our virtues that have the power to ignite something within us that helps us to be able to move mountains when we're unable to move mountains. That challenging situations, things get moved and shift out of the way so that we can allow. But when you're so busy trying to be, the martyr, or you're so busy trying to be something, or you're so busy trying to force something, is that you miss what is there for you. Because even if you asked, you denied the opening. So you have to be open, you have to be available, and you have to be accepting. You have to really accept you and accept that imperfect you, because it's beautiful. And that's one of the big messages that they have for you. And that was one of the message they wanted me to bring into me. My mom used to say, tell it to the bees. I love that. So I just looked down, and that's the first thing I see. My mom used to tell me to leave it to the bees. Yes. And I would say bees. It's me. My granddaughter just watched the Bee movie. And I said to her, I have a card in my Oracle cards. I'm telling a 2-year-old this. And it literally is. It's like it's that many versions. It's like this faded version of a woman, and then she's holding this orb, this world, and she's trying to look into the world, and she's not looking into herself. But over here is a bee that's trying to be the messenger for her. And the bee literally is telling us the bee defies all odds, because if the bee was human and it listened to the fact that it was too fat to fly and those little wings would never be able to lift it, it would never leave the ground. It would get caught up in the programming and believe the programming, and it wouldn't fly. Whereas the bee doesn't know that it's too fat to fly, and all it knows, it has wings, and all it knows, it has to get there. It has to get to the pollen. So it literally just goes. It just does. And with least resistance, it just is. And so when we allow things to just be, right, it's like we just, that thought that you get so caught up in, and you're trying to figure out that thought, it is just a thought. And it means nothing until you give it legs, until you weigh it down, until you create it into something. Until then, it is just thought, right? It is just a thought. And if a thought can be just a thought and it doesn't be given life, and you don't try to place it somewhere, It'll be just a thought, and you let the thought just go. And so we're being told to just let the thoughts go. And that's the same kind of energy. It's like, don't get attached. Don't take the thoughts so personally. Don't judge the thoughts. Don't get caught in the thoughts, and just allow them to just pass by. So that's what we have. And hello, all the T's. I see some T's here. So hello, everyone who's joining in tonight. Too many to go back and look back through the names, but I want to read a few of the comments. Ellie says, the other night, the tree and lights and you were all lit up, so much white light around for the meditation. I'll have to go back and watch again, Ellie. But yeah, it's been happening so much in so much of my work. It's like the whole room just like glows, this white light or this magenta lights, and everything just turns. I'm seeing, I mean, I see the angels, of course. I see the angelics, and I can see this angelic forces, and Archangel Gabriel is in my dreams every single night. Every night. Every single night. And I just know there's just like pushing me forward. Oh, I see Beth is talking to Patsy. Carlene, I kept seeing the tree lights turning bright a few times. Yeah, they are. It's so crazy. And I'm not doing messages from loved ones tonight, as far as I know, Tina. As far as I know. I never know what's coming, but I wanted to just come in and give a 3-card message. I will be recording a meditation tonight, and we will be releasing a meditation for the winter solstice. So I'm going to be recording that after I'm done here. And I'm just home. I was just on the road all day. So I've been traveling all day, and I'm just home and just a lie. I just got the call to come in and give these messages. So we're doing that. We'll move with Kira. My name is Casey. Casey. I love Casey. I love that name. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go with the cards. She believed they were messages, were God's messengers. Yes, I agree with you. I believe they're God's messengers. Sierra. Okay, so I'm going to start with the fairy cards because we have a lot of fairy energy around us. So I'm going to start with the fairy energy. And I just went over and got this deck before I came in. So this is a Radley Valentine. Actually, so my deck goes back a long way. My deck goes back all the way back to when I actually, a lot of my early training was with Doreen Virtue. And so this deck is from when it was Doreen and Radley. And so, of course, now it's just Radley. So these... And I think it's Radley's birthday today. So happy birthday to Radley Valentine, who I was in the very original Angel Tarot class that Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine taught live. It was the first one, like real live classes, like online were coming out. And I was in the very first class doing my Angel Card Reader certification. That's what it was. Angel Card Reader certification. And then I went on and I did my master level of Angel Card certification. So that's a few years ago now. That was a few years back. I've done many, many things since then, but yes, it's all so cool. I've done some cool things in my life. I've done some cool things. I've met some cool people in this spiritual world along the way. But as I said earlier, I have found my way back to just an ordinary girl. Okay, so our card fell on the floor. So I have to, sorry. Bending over is not easy for me. I am waiting for back surgery. So bending over there is the hardest thing for a girl that was so fit. It's like getting down there is so hard. So our card is unity, which is 5. And and so um and so this card is a major arcana. And the major arcana is major life events, major moments in our lives, major shifts and changes. And like I said, we are coming into a few major shifts in the energy, in how the planets are realigning with the winter solstice, with the new moon, and with how Chiron has been really truly chasing down us Aries, chasing down us Aries out there. And that is the wounded healer, and kind of making us really forced to be able to see and heal the things that need to be healed. And I feel like for a lot of us out there right now, or a lot of people out there right now, is sometimes we feel like trying to push ourselves back into the box. You can't get back into the box, or you're feeling like you don't belong. We're separate, but we are all so much more alike than than you can imagine, right? Like there's so much that makes us more alike than it makes us different. And we spend a lifetime trying to stand out, or to be separate from, or to be something different, or be something special. But in the end, we all end up the same. I remember being at a Hay House writers conference, and I don't even remember where I was. I think I was in Scottsdale, Arizona at the time. And I just remember Reed Tracy just saying to us, just to let you know, you all believe you've all written the one. You've all written the original story. You've all written the book that is different than everyone else's. But here, what you're going to discover is that you're all alike, and that you're all telling similar stories. We've all had similar experiences, but nobody else has walked in our shoes, and nobody has told our story for us. So you're telling your story, and it's your story, and it's not somebody else's, and it's your version, and it's only your version, and it's about perspectives. And that you're all, you're not in competition. And I always would say that when I was teaching. So when I'm still teaching, but when I was teaching hairdressing and teaching a hairdressing program, I would always remember to tell my students, you're not competition to each other. You are all a complement. You all complementary. You all complement each other, because you all have something that gives you a level of your own authenticity, but you all are still so much the same. You're all still hairstylists. You're all still this. And the world has unlimited availability. It's up to you what you present to the world, and how you show up, and the effort you put in, and what comes to you. But if you try to be somebody else, and if you try to be, separate from everything that's out there, including the divine, you're always going to be on the outside looking in. And so when you allow yourself to be this oneness, to be this sense of self, it means you have an authenticity, you have your own mind, you have your own thoughts, because you think for yourself. That's what we do in modernism. Like, you think for yourself. Nobody else can tell you what to do. And you're not responsible for the actions of others. No matter what, you are never. And so this unity brings us is, there we have two parts to our ego. You have the ego that separates us, and we have the ego that brings us together. And so we have the ego that is over here, that is tied to the emotional response, that gets us caught up in our lower vibrating energy. It gets us caught up in our stories. And then you have the super ego. And that is the part that is about being the best human that we can be, doing the right things for the right reason, being present in that, just knowing the power of kindness and caring goes a long way, especially when that same that you try to be out there, you be for yourself. Because when you are kind to you, when you include yourself, you're not near as bitter. You don't have that sense of envy or jealousy. You have a lot less of that. Now, it still exists, of course, but what you do with it is what changes. When you use it to say, I wonder why I just had that thought about that person. And, I know that's not to be true. How can I use it to inspire me? And so doing the right thing for the right reasons, allowing ourselves to be able to work from that place instead of the lower vibration. So not when we create an enemy inside of ourselves, we will find enemies everywhere. When we are hypersensitive, when we have that hypersensitive energy within us, you'll walk into a space, you'll go everywhere, and everywhere you go, you will be focused, and you will find the one thing that will match that energy, that allows you to return to the feeling that you had, to be able to feed the monster, to feed that energy so that you can tell yourself the story. Everybody makes me feel this way. Everybody separates me, and nobody includes me. All of those things are all that sense of the inner self that stems back to the unhealed moments in our lives. So it's what we call emotional intelligence, is to be able to evolve your emotional intelligence so that you can learn the power of telling an adult story from an adult, from the adult you are today, instead of trying to, from the adult you are today, existing in the childhood stories in the way that a child would have experienced them. So when you can look back through your life and you can see things through the eyes of who you are today, through the heart, and use it as an opportunity to not to be able to continue to use it as a weapon of mass destruction against yourself, but to be able to use it as inspiration and say, oh, I can see that differently now. And you see people instead of the roles that they play. We come back to ourselves. And when you get back home to you and you're no longer separate from you, you start to have a greater personal relationship with you. And that's our message that's here. It's about building a personal relationship with ourselves and with the divine, and knowing that this sense of this light, this love, this power that's out there, we all have a spark within us. We all have that light within us. And, to know divine purpose is to just basically accept who you are. Accept who you are and expand on who you are, like who you are right now. Not what, not what you want to be, not what you're trying to be, not any of that, but who I am right now. And in what parts of myself what parts of myself right now do I really want to enhance? Or what do I want to grow upon? What do I want to explore? Become curious and look into your mirror and not into another. And because this card speaks of transformation. This card speaks of transformation. And so there's a time for transformation that is upon us. And finding like-minded, finding your spiritual community, finding people that resonate with you. So important. So important. I stopped in today to visit my girls at Evolution Salon in Leduc. And I stopped in to visit Michelle and Connie and the girls. And it was just so good to see everyone and to just be there with them and hang out for a little bit. And to the new girls that I don't know, it was nice to meet them too. And so it was just lovely to be there. And of course, not mentioning everyone's names because I'm on live, but if you're in Leduc area and you want some great hairstylists, go to Evolution Salons. They're amazing. Next card. So we have the 6 of Spring. And as I told you, we have some beautiful energy on our way. We have some powerful force energy that is saying, use this energy to your highest good. Do the right things for the right reason, from the right place, from this sense of authenticity within you. And just know that this energy, the 6 of Spring, is really truly telling us like there is some magical energy that is here right now. And so this energy speaks of, making those smart choices, being wise with those choices and decisions. And wonderful news is on the way. There is something coming in. And so the something that's coming in, it's like, how people say, I just know something good is coming. I just know something good is coming. And some people will just sit and wait and then wait for something good. Other people will create something good. What are you creating? Right? So they never, and then when something spectacular comes along, then something spectacular, something out of the blue just happens. And I've always known that there is just this something that is just there, just waiting. And I know the key to it is that I had to become the person that I need to be to know that it is mine and that it's not anyone else's, that it's mine. And so knowing that energy, being in that energy, and to be able to step into there, that's where you are. It's like you be you so that when you get to your destiny, it recognizes you. When you get to what is yours, it knows you. But when you sit and you sit out and you just wait for it to all to come, and you haven't done your part, which means healing It is so important to invest into your own personal healing. It's if you want your future to change, if you want your tomorrows to change, you have to be the change. You can't wait for the world to change. It's not about the world changing, it's about you. And you've heard me say that 1,000 times. Just giving you a little reminder, because there is beautiful opportunities. And take advantage of this beautiful opportunity and this beautiful time. I was just going to say it's beautiful weather, but it's not. It is minus 40 here tonight. So it's freaking cold. So one last card to go with this for you. We have the High Priestess, and this is another major arcana. So this one is about trusting your own intuition. The High Priestess, she is a 2, right? And so she's holding the book. She's holding up this reflection of the written words and the written truth. And so the only real truth that you know is the truth that is of your experience, until you look back and you view who was in your experience, what version of you, what age, what time, what else was happening. And that's when you start to realize that some of the things that we've held as truths becomes not true. And that's a huge part of the healing that comes through my second book, is my truth of existing beyond the reflection. And so beyond me, beyond all of this, when I could become an observer. So when you become an observer of your own life, your own actions, your own whys, the things that become the driving force to our own attitudes and those type of things, is that we recognize within ourselves. And so on the back of this book, it says, have you ever wondered what it would be like to watch your human self through the eyes of your soul? And that's exactly the journey that I took to write this book. This book was very much from my human. This was very much looking back through my human experiences. This was accountability. It was ownership, responsibility, and just knowing that you can't heal what's not yours to heal. You have to give back what's not yours to heal. This is about really looking in at yourself. And so the first statements in this speak about, the lies and half-assed truths, and that we live on lies and half-assed truths. And those, we come to a place of acceptance, and we just accept things as truth. And sometimes that's so much easier than constantly trying to seek out a new truth, causing ourselves the misery of trying to seek out something. So you accept things sometimes that you just have to accept. Like sometimes you just have to accept people where they are. You can't force people to be different. You can't force people to heal. And when you're reflecting onto another all the problems they have and what they need to do to be better, and how if they're better, your life would be better, then eventually you'll be left behind. Because if they do that work and all you've been doing is focusing on them, then you haven't been focusing on you, and you'll never get done what you need to do for you, because you're so busy looking into another that you haven't looked into you. And so it's very important. So we have major life events. We have major moments, major opportunities for us to be able to bring the change, to be able to see things differently. And, this High Priestess also comes with the ability of like greater insight, and to be able to, look deeper, be curious, question things, question your own self. It's okay. And so, Carlene, we are a tribe of sisters and brothers. We are more than existing. Yes, we are, Carlene. Yes. And so, more than existing, we are more than our suffering. We're more than our stories. We're more than the programming. We're more than the conditioning. We're more than everything we thought we are. And we're even more than what we can dream of. Sometimes what we set for ourselves is like we lower the bar to what we believe we're capable of. But what if you're so much more? But if you don't make a relationship with you and from the soul, you'll never get to know that more of you, because you'll be so in that limited self. And this is to be able to expand beyond. I was saying to my girl yesterday, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, but I have nothing to look forward to. Nothing. I know of 3 good things happened today. See? Exactly, right? We just know. We just know. And if you haven't purchased my books, you can get them on Amazon. My books are on Amazon. And all the links are on my website. You can go to my website and they're directly on there. So I'm going to end on one of my own cards from my deck that we are working on the box. Well, not me. I'm not on the box. I'm not working on the box. Amelia Richard, the artist, and Lisa Richard are working on the box, and my vision is in there, but there's so much to be done. And so on the bottom of this fairy deck, I just got guided to look at the underlying. So the underlying is the 9 of winter. And we are coming into that winter solstice, and see, she's got her window open. She's looking out at the moon. And so this is this is about the the unfounded fear, false evidence appearing real, right? When we fear based on no real reason to be afraid, but we're fearful. It's like, oh, I'm just worried about what's coming. I'm worried. So if it's so easy to worry about what's coming, then why is it so hard to have hope and faith in something great coming? Right? If we're worried about something bad coming, if we're always looking at the worst case scenario, the glass half full, it's to make that to shift our mindset into the fact of being able to have to restore that sense of hope. And faith has strength. Faith has the ability to move, right? It gets us to move. And so when we see hope as the star, and then we see the string as faith, and we wrap it around the star, then we can get our way to the star, pulling ourselves towards the star. And so when we have something that's small, we turn molehills into mountains, right? Being over. So this 9 of winter is saying, what is here? What is it for us to that we're not seeing? And this is also a good thing. 3 is lucky number. 3 times 3 equals 9. Yep, exactly. So it's the power of 3. And so 33 also ties into Christo. And so Christo, I'm not going to go into it deep, but Christo stands then for Christmas. Christo is also about the little piece that's inside the brain that lights up, and it's a part of the makeup of the brain. And they say it's like shaped like the Christmas tree. A whole nother story, but that's all a part of it. And so there's just so many things that come into play here. So another thing is superstitions, right? It's like that superstitions were a part of suppression. It was a part of the old ways, and a part of the energy that we have right now is actually breaking up with the old programming around superstitions, and how superstitions have had such a hold on people and such a hold on us. And so that's also coming in for this energy as well. So from my deck, the card that came out was Willow. And this is the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards. If you're new to my work, this is the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards. They are about inspiration and about attitude. And so she is a number 38 in the deck, and she is from the Crone set in the deck. And her name is Willow, and she is the guardian. And so if you often hear me speak of the guardian angels, and that I work with the guardians. And so the guardians are always with us, and the guardians will never intercept, until we ask. And the guardians can really truly be disguised in many areas within our lives. And I always see my trees in my yard were my guardians. They were my saving grace when I moved here in Lacombe in the spring. And I wrote many blogs, I wrote many stories, I spent many time with the trees. And I know the power of everything has the power of, the energy, and I can hear the trees. And those guardians, taught me so much about myself and about the changing in seasons, and how everything has a season. And as we come into this winter solstice season, as we come into this time of a shift from, as we the days will now start to get longer, things will start to change again. There is a new shift coming in. And so as the days get longer, more light starts to come in. And as light starts to be restored, as we get the sense of light coming back in and seeing light again, is that no matter how dark our days are, is that there's one thing that's guaranteed: there will always be light. And so, it's like day and night. Wherever there's darkness, there is light, right? And so there is this light, but these guardians, and when we created this, she's very youthful looking, but it was like old trees. We see old trees, and in wintertime, they just look like dead trees. And then amazingly, in spring, they come back to life, but they were never dead. They just went dormant. So sometimes we just have to, when we're in a pause, when we're resting, when we're allowing ourselves to be in winter, when we're allowing ourselves to be snuggled up, when we're when things are covered in snow, when the water freezes over, and it doesn't mean the fish underneath the frozen water are gone. It doesn't mean they're dead. They didn't die. They just went deeper. And it's just, and they adapt. And so there's an adaptability, and then they wait. And then there's time for them again. And they know it's coming again because everything is in a cycle. And so the beautiful trees will blossom. And when they blossom, what was so bleak now gives us hope again. Then there's like, oh my God, look at the beauty. And then you see the beauty again. But when there's nothing on them, it's so hard to see the beauty. Well, you know, when I see the beauty of trees? In the winter, when it's frosty. Have you ever woke up in the morning and look out at the trees and they're filled with frost and they just sparkle and they just glow and they just shine? That's just like the angels. That's just like the guardians. That's hope. That's the sense that there's always beauty. There's always something. But if you're only looking for the dark, if you're only looking for the bad, if you're waiting for the next bad thing, if you're waiting for the next worst moment in your life, if you're always worried about what could go wrong, you'll always miss the beauty. You'll always miss the opportunity. You'll always miss the light. And so if you're so busy being caught up in how you can constantly, make yourself better, then you're never going to be well enough. You're never going to be in that state to say, I'm ready. And so accepting where we are, knowing we can still do all of the work, means that it's also a time to be able to know that even though we may be winter, though we may not have all of our blossoms, maybe we don't have our leaves, maybe we're not doing those things, but it doesn't mean we don't have something to bring to the table. It doesn't mean we don't have something good to give. And the guardians are those. And the guardians reminds us that they are there to be the push, that they're there to bring us that sense of hope. They're here to help us. They're here to surround us. And there is so much more that you can embrace and enjoy. And if you want to know more about my work with the guardians, there's actually on my Facebook page, if you go into my store, you can get it. Or if you go to the academy, if you go to More Than Existing Academy, I recorded a cup, I think it's like an hour and a half or 2 hour little workshop, a little thing on the guardian angels and my experience with the guardian angels. So yes, the strength and the beauty that they have. And let's just finish with one more for you. And then I got to go record a meditation. The beauty of the crones. Yes, there is beauty in the crones. And as I have entered into my own crone stage here, I'm very much accepting of my ordinary. And I'm embracing this ordinary. And I'm really loving this sense of, what I resisted for so long was what ordinary meant, and what I thought, how I resisted ordinary was I was resisting love. I was resisting friendships. I was resisting things that I didn't feel worthy of. And that really truly changes. And so then we have the medicine woman as our last card, and her name has gotten a change in name. So she's now Ruthie to us. And so she is the medicine woman. And she is rooted. Her hands are roots. Her body, from her sacral down is roots, and it's just lit up. Her hair, everything is just really, truly just represents that sense of just like knowing who she is, a strong sense. And you can see the light is behind her. And the forest is like, it's as if the forest has been burnt. It's like everything has burnt away, and she's coming from that. She's been able to travel into that darkness, but she's through the light. She is the light. And so she knows who she is. She's rooted in that sense of her knowing. And when we truly start to recognize that we all have within us everything that we really need, we all can awaken our inner healer, our inner coach, our inner guru. You can awaken all of those things within you. And all of that is a part of us. there is magic, there is divine, there's an essence of God consciousness. Everything exists within us. Is that when we become so just one dimensional, we forget that we have many dimensions, that we are so much more. We are animated. So when you allow yourself to be animated, when you allow yourself to know that you can get to those deep rooted places, to get to the places where you need to heal without having to re-trigger, without having to go back and relive anything, but that you can get to those places. And getting to those places, when we allow the guardians to walk with us, when we allow the wise ones to walk with us, when we allow our ancestors, when we allow the power of the healers to walk with us, it's amazing the things that we can do. We just limit ourselves. And so the energy that we have in the universal energy as it's shifting right now is to know that sometimes it's okay for you to get your blanket and cuddle all up and to be all posy and resty in your life. And it doesn't mean that everything has stopped working for you. It's that you have stopped running, stopped avoiding, and you're allowing yourself to be present. And being present doesn't mean that we have to be always physically doing, that we can be in meditation, that we can be in a state of bliss. We can be in a state of embracing an experience, embracing a moment, embracing our own selves. And that is action. And while we're in that state of action, then other things, because what shifts is our mindset. And the moment your mindset shifts, everything else shifts with it. And we can allow in these beautiful things. So don't waste the energy. Don't waste what's here for us. Don't let it slip you by. There is beautiful things. And I hope this helps you in some way. So for all who are joining in and all that are on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support, continual support. Like I said, the books are available on, my books are available on Amazon. And this is More Than Existing. And hello to my former neighbor that I seen here earlier. And then this is My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection. And then also we have our online summit. If you haven't got your tickets, get your tickets. And that's coming January the 6th. And it is open to men and women. For the first time, this is our third annual, and we have a male speaker, and we're so excited to have him with us this year. He has a great story to share with us. And if you see Michelle Gibson is commenting down there, she's one of the presenters as well. Linda Green is in here. She's one. And of course, Lisa Richard, who I shared Lisa's amazing message today on Facebook. So on my Facebook page, she talks about Gate 10 in the human design, which also ties into this winter solstice energy. So if you haven't read it and you're on my Facebook page, it is an amazing blog. She's Loving Energy Recharge. Go check that out. It touched my heart today. I had to message her about it actually, and we had a conversation about it. So check that out. But the tickets are on the website. If you're in the academy, you can click there and it'll take you to the website. Go to CorrieThorne.com and it's under summit, and you can get your tickets to the summit. And they're very reasonably priced, and it's in Canadian dollars. For my my American people or my UK people, it is in Canadian dollars. The evening add-on is down on the bottom. That's a add-on, and that is a evening on the Saturday evening where I will be doing a live mediumship. And then we have coming up in January the 21st in Leduc. In Leduc, Alberta, there will be a wellness day on the 21st of January at the Best Western. I always call it the Best Western, or Barney's restaurant is. So I think it's the airport in Best Western in Leduc on 50th Street. We will be there for a full day, doing a whole day of wellness. We decided to just open it up and let vendors come in, and they're going to be there. And we're going to have a little space where they can do some little talks as well. But then in the evening, if you go to the events on my Facebook page, there is a Eventbrite link, and I'll share it in here as well. And I'll put it on underneath in YouTube as well. If you go to Eventbrite, you can actually purchase the tickets for the evening. So on the 21st of January, I will be back out in person. It's going to be my first in-person. I've been out teaching, but my first mediumship event in person in a few years. So if you want to catch that, we're going to be in Leduc from 7 to 9 on January the 21st. And tickets are available on Eventbrite. And so I will share the link here. But if you want to meet us in Leduc, you sure can. And Michelle Gibson, who you've seen here, will be joining me on stage as well. She's one of my previous students. Well, she's still a student in many ways. And here she is now starting to step out and do her own mediumship work as well. So yeah, that's what we have for you. I had to share all of my stuff along with the messages. So we hope to really see you at the summit. Like I said, it's coming up the beginning of the new year. So get your tickets, get your tickets. I will be doing a couple talks. There will be 14 talks that will be happening over those days. It's just such an incredible summit, and for $29.95, and you don't have to be at all the lives. It will be recorded, so you'll be able to go back to your dashboard within a few days. The recordings will be there, and you'll be able to listen to the recordings as many times as you like, except for the live mediumship that will be on the Saturday night. So 2 mediumship events. One will be on January the 7th online, and the other one will be the 21st, and that one will be in Leduc. So that's what we got for you. And I will see you all very soon. And now I'm going to go do a meditation. Much, much love to you. Bye-bye.